age where we give the fucking losers of a little league a trophy.
Yeah.
Like, everyone thinks they're so entitled and so right, and this online, when people are like crucifying others, like, you're so wrong, but it, like, there's a psychological thing to it. It's like when you make someone else wrong, it implies that you're right and you have that higher power authority, that you're better than that person.
Right, and it's weird because, I mean, I played sports my entire life growing up, and when I was like, I have a brother who's like 6 years younger than I am. So like seeing what I like when I was like 8, 9, and 10, what, like, if you lost, like your parents were like a little upset, like, oh, you lost, hey, tough loss, but go get next. Now it's just like, oh, you played great.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, your kid went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. Like,
You didn't play great.
You didn't play great, and you see it in everything. Like, oh, you got to see, oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, at a certain point, it's just not fine.
It's not.
Because at a certain point, we're all in school now, and even some classes that we take, you kind of get like your free grades because, like, oh, I don't believe in grades. But at a certain point, someone is going to be paying you based on how you do at your certain thing, and if you suck, you're gone.
That is so true. Yeah, you got it. Like, we can't be coddling. No. I know it's great. You don't want to hurt a kid's feelings, but like my dad always did it so great for me. After like sports games and shit, he'd be like, all right, what'd you do good? Well? And I have to tell him, like, oh, I dumped the puck. I
exactly
hit hard. And then he's like, okay, what could you have done better? I was like, a lot. And then we'd go through it.
Yeah, like, yeah, I had an empty net at the end of the game, and I could have had a goal.
Yeah,
and I missed. And guess what? You missed. And then, like, yes, of course, like, a Little League sports game is the end of the world. And it's probably not the best example because those things don't really mean much.
But it teaches you.
But when you learn these things at a young age, they just get ingrained into your mind from, all right, now it used to be a 10-year-old baseball game. Now it's a high school exam. Now it's my SAT. Now I'm in college. And like, and like they talk about kids, assuming they don't have like a mental disability or something like that. I never make fun of that. But if a kid like, I failed out of school, like at a certain point right now, it's like, it's always someone else's fault when you fuck up. But at a certain point, like, you run out of actual legitimate excuses, and everyone's eventually going to be in the real. You're not going to live in mom and dad's house for 30 years. Yeah. And eventually you're going to get to the real world, and shit's going to get real, and someone's going to dump you on your ass because whether it's a girl, a boss, whatever you're doing, you're going to screw up at it. And if you screw up too many times, we can't be teaching people at a young age that that's just okay.
Yeah, no, I agree. You definitely can't, because you're going to be out on your own. And it's just so strange that we try to coddle like that, because I feel like I read a really cool thing today in my like textbook. It said, it was like a Greek, what was it called? A Greek like proverb. Mm-hmm. And it said, if you have, I don't know, I'm not going to be able to quote it perfectly.
Right, of course.
But if you have a solid beginning, you're halfway done. Or it rhymed, so it sounded nicer. But the whole thing is like, if you have a good start to something, like a solid base, like in your childhood, you're halfway there. You've done the hard shit. You put the foundation down. Once you have a solid foundation, you could grow up. Right. But if you have a shitty foundation, like telling your kid that he's perfect and an all-star, like, they're going to grow up and think they're that and think they're never wrong. We can't have that.
Right. And you see it and it's just like when it's just a very simple thing to analogize it to. I think that's speaking of making up words. That might
analogize
be
it.
Analogize
now it is.
Now it is. Yeah, look at this. One podcast, 20 minutes, two new words.
2 new words.
Yeah, no, it's just like when you're building anything. Like I've built a few things in my life, and not a very handy person, but everything starts with the base. Like you can't build a house without a foundation. And you can't build a good foundation without a good piece of land. It's like, so like it all is just it's all just one big analogy to it. It all makes sense. And I think you're right. And it brings me back. This is a movie. I don't know if you've seen this in a long time. Remember the movie Grown Ups?
Yes.
Yeah.
With Adam Sandler.
With Adam Sandler. Remember Kevin James? They have like the little kid.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Grown Ups 1 or Grown Ups 2. My brother's a little younger than me, so I'm not watching all like those like teenage Adam Sandler movies again.
I think,
but like Kevin James's kid like can't say the alphabet, so it'll be like ZYFBH, and then the mom's like, "Oh, that's great."
Yeah.
But like the sad part is like that's supposed to be funny. We're supposed to just laugh at that, like it's not true. But maybe it's not that extreme, but at a certain point it is, and it's kind of funny how that like those are the people that, especially probably not our age, but like the next kind of generation, whatever the generations are, millennials, Gen Z, I don't know what it means anymore. But those are the people who are going to be like eventually coming into college and coming into the workforce. And if that stuff's going to be accepted. They're not going to, because those people are going to have bosses that were raised a hell of a lot differently than they were.
Yeah.
And everything's going to go to shit at a certain point because they never think they're wrong. And if you never think you're wrong or never admit that you're wrong, you're going to have a tough time surviving.
Yeah. I think, was that the movie where that kid was like sucking his mom's for milk?
Yeah. That's somewhere. I think it's either the first one or yes. That's exactly what it is. And then like they're at the water park, and then and he goes, "I want mommy's milk," and then Kevin James goes, "No," and he hands him a carton of milk, and he just chugs. He's like, "I like this."
Yes, that was so good. But I think it just like shows, because I think it does kind of reflect of our society a lot, and there's another thing I just read in this fucking textbook.
Good textbook. What do you take? Sociology?
Ancient philosophy.
Ancient philosophy.
So they say a lot of smart stuff from like thousands of years ago that we are like should do now.
Yeah, because shit was a lot simpler back then.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, you have a rock, I have a stick. We need to trade.
Yes.
Make it happen.
And then make it done.
This is on camera, right?
Yeah.
They don't need these anymore.
Yeah, no, they don't. But it's weird. I think they had the human aspect down, because we're so technology advanced, or technologically advanced.
That's actually a word.
Yes.
That's actually a word.
We've lost our human side.
Oh my God. People don't know how to talk to each other.
Yeah, no. We've lost it. But before we go to that, the whole thing was, if you're a man, it's another quote, so I'm not going to remember it. If you're a man that knows everything, like about a subject, like, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
If you're a man that doesn't know but is able to listen, like, you're worth something.
Yeah.
But if you're a man that doesn't know and will not listen, you're useless.
Exactly. It's just like when you're teaching somebody to do anything, no matter what their age.
Yeah.
Like if you're teaching a kid the alphabet, if the kid's just going to sit there and say, "No, this is right, I'm right," like, no, you're not. It goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Like that's how it's done. But also it's the same as teaching a college kid something or teaching an adult something. Like, yeah, like you may do it this way, but this way is wrong.
Yeah.
Like you got to edit this podcast. If I walked into you and told you, "No, this is how you edit the podcast," you told me, "No, it's not." And you know you're right, and I don't know I'm wrong. Like that's where things go to shit, basically. Yeah. And the new thing is, and now this is going into technology a little bit, we have all this technology where people can see other people believe in their wrong ideas, and they can say, "Oh no, but so and so on Reddit said that this is true."
Yeah.
So they get that in their mind, and they only see what they think is right.
Yeah. Especially with the algorithms out there now, where these platforms like Facebook or Instagram or even your fucking Google browser is showing you what it knows you want to see, so you keep coming back.
It's so messed up. It's so messed up. And they've actually got me a few times, which is sad. Like I'll be on Instagram and I'll see this thing like workout. I mean, like it's a small like workout shorts. Well, they know that like I buy like a lot of Nike shit and stuff like that. And then it's like, these shorts are just as comfortable as Nike and they're $20. Yeah. And of course I did. Of course I bought one. They are comfortable. I'm wearing them right now. They're very comfortable. But yeah, like, and that is another thing. It's just so messed up. It's just they can, and they even offer, because I'm on Twitter the other day, and they said you can turn off targeted ads, because I guess they've gotten so many complaints about it because people have been compulsively spending on these things, and they've gotten mad. Turn off target, but it's they still got me, because what they can do, especially with these websites, because you all follow stuff.
Yeah.
Like if I follow MLB, NFL, NHL, NBA. All right, they know I like sports. What are they going to do? Like FanDuel and SeatGeek and all these sports companies are just going to come on my phone.
Yeah.
Or not even in an ad, or just in like suggested followers, because those big companies will just pay for it. Like if you're a business guy, you follow the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and like then Goldman Sachs is going to be targeting you. It's the same. Like no matter what your interests are or what you follow, they're going to be in like your suggested category, even if it's not an ad.
They're very good at what they do.
Yes, they are.
And they're good at hiding it, too.
Yeah, they are.
Like, we were learning, I mean, did you have to take the TRF, like, 235 class?
I didn't have to. I'm BDJ, so I didn't have to take any TRF stuff. But like,
because it's, like, the business side, so I don't know if other majors had to take it. But we learned about, like, PR, which is even fucking sneakier than advertising, because PR can do stuff without saying it's an ad. Like,
no.
It's like, for press conferences, for the government, for what they say, like, they are the ones that manipulate. Like, they're the puppeteers controlling what everyone sees. And for press conferences for the government, because this is what shit gets me rattled, how they could actually do this. they make the president's speech or whoever's speech talking say something absurd or something that they know the news will pick up. So the media outlet focuses on that and not the other 20 minutes that they talked about.
And it's something that, I mean, I don't want to get into like the whole politics thing, but it's something that obviously since like the dawn of any sort of social media, and that even goes back to like 2000, and this doesn't have to do anything with politics, the people, just like the social media got better, the people understanding social media and working for governments and companies and whatever got even better. Yeah. So flashback 3 or 4 years, Trump says something outrageous just because he's so far said way more outrageous stuff than any other president ever. It's like it could be a 20-minute press conference. It could be 19. You said this. It could be 19 minutes of absolute perfect economic policy, but nobody wants to care about it because it's boring. Because it's talking about tariffs and trade agreements and whatever. He could be killing the economy, but he could also say, "Yeah, but I also fucked that model in 2005."
Yeah,
and that's like that whole next. Where's that model? Can we talk to her? What did he do? What like there's that? It's completely right.
Yeah. So what do you think as like a journalist? I know you want to go into sports journalism.
I want to go into sports, and I don't really want to do. I just want to work in sports media some way, somehow. Whether that's working for like a media company, sports team, something like that.
Yeah. So I guess I don't know if it really translates. It kind of translates.
I mean, I'm a journalism major, so like I've learned about all like news, politics. Like, I mean, I know like if you want to ask a journalism question,
yeah.
Away.
So I'm wondering, because I know if it bleeds, it leads. Like people, at the end of the day, it's a business. Like these media outlets are businesses that want to make money and get eyes. So do you think like there's a way that we could shift from that to like actual news? Because I don't even know when I say actual news, like because going off the example of the model, like that's what's going to be picked up, not the other stuff that seems to be important, like economic. So like I have I guess it's a multiple, like how do you find what actual news is for everyone? We could start there.
Well, I mean, it's almost impossible because you just can't watch. The number one thing is I just don't think you can watch TV. You just can't watch TV because TV not only is looking for advertising revenue, they're looking for they have to win ratings.
Yeah.
So and as dumb as it sounds, the Nielsen ratings, I'm sure you've heard of it in TRF.
Yeah. Very important.
Yeah, they're very important. And like very few people have Nielsen cable boxes because barely less and less people have cable now.
They came to my house.
Really?
They wanted us to do it, and my mom was like, "No."
Yeah. So like they those things decide. So like if you look at we'll start like CNBC. I see is like the most far left. Mm-hmm. Like they talk about like some stuff that's out there, and Fox News talks about some stuff that's out there. CNN is like not out there, but they're like over here, and then there's no one like here. If this line that's a little line on the table, and honestly, what those stations are and where you find the most balanced stuff is the stuff that A is hard to find and B is basically publicly funded. NPR, like they're probably a little more left leaning, but that's the way the people that go into the media now are generally a little bit more left leaning. I like to think of myself the way I talk about politics with like journalism people like in class, who most of them I do not like to associate with very much, as I've told you before.
I know the crowd.
Yeah. So, like, if I think of politics as 0 to 100, right? Like, 0 is like not saying 1 is better than 0 is liberal, 100 is conservative. I'd like, if you're a 40 or a 60, I can talk to you.
Yeah.
Like, that's something like there's going to be some things that like these people like, and there's going to be some people that these people like. And that's fine. Okay. Like, there's issues on both sides of the aisle that I agree and I disagree with. But TV, you just can't do it. It's impossible. And newspapers aren't even newspapers anymore. Newspapers, like you said, they're looking for eyes, right?
Yeah.
They're looking for, it's not eyes anymore, it's clicks. How many times can someone click on this article?
Yeah.
So it could be like just a debrief of a press conference, but all they care about is that first little thing that's in blue when you type on Google, like today's news. Mm-hmm. What's that first thing they're going to see in blue? Because that's going to get a click. And then it doesn't matter how long they're on it. The way that they've set up the algorithms and the ads is based on the amount of times people just visit the page.
Yeah.
And that's what's kind of tough. So you're quite going. I know it was a roundabout answer, but going back to your question is, you gotta read both, because just like when someone's telling a story, there's always gonna be somebody who's like 60% right and 60% or 60% right and 40% wrong. The other person will be 40% right and 60% wrong.
Yeah.
So you just kind of meet it in the middle and just consume it all. And I know a lot of it's unbearable to watch, but pull the information that you know is true out of both.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer because it reminds me of like a tug of war, because I don't think the extremes on either side are good. Because I like to think I don't even think of myself as either party. I like to think of myself as like, for the people. I guess I'm kind of more libertarian, but like I'm very in the middle because I have ideas from the left and ideas from the right.
Yeah.
And like I really do think the reason I just give a little jerk hand thing. I really do think the reason we have different parties is so they could see the mistakes in the others. And so when everything, what's the word for a hive mind or just one mindset? I don't know. Trilla, do you know? What? Yeah, I guess it's closed-minded, but it's just like
partisan, maybe like you're part, like you're
or an echo chamber.
Yeah, something like that.
Like
yeah. Tunnel vision.
Tunnel vision. Or like when your ideas.
You can only
are the
see,
same.
and this is the same thing we were talking about with people who don't know really the difference of right wrong.
Yeah,
like they only see it their way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and when you have everyone else saying that around you, that's not good. You need someone from the outside with different perspectives. Hey, fucking bimbo. This isn't right, and to argue on it, because when you argue, it shows the flaws in you, and then you could go back. Because like this reminds me of a study about diversity in the classroom. When you have all white students, can you look this up? I don't know what the exact study was, but if you have the basic of it was if you have all white students in a classroom and you gave them tests or like an SAT thing, they would score lower. If you had like a diverse I'm not just saying racially diverse,
right.
but economically, racially, religious, and have them together, and they learned the same stuff as the other people. What is it? It's something like that. But the people that were more diverse did better.
You see and hear from different people of different backgrounds, whatever that background may be. You're going to be more well-rounded as a person. I think that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
And ultimately, like, yes, we all grew up.
Whatever.
We all grew up going to wherever we're from. I'm from like a very suburban, traditional, like what you think of it. What you look at me is like you're gonna know what a lot of my friends look like at home.
Yeah.
And I know a little bit where you're from in Morristown. It's probably pretty similar. Right. So, and that's why we go to places like this. We go to these universities to go see people from everywhere, and it's something that we have like in our little window here of where we are now, like. In this house, we've gotten to know people from all over the country, of all different backgrounds, of all different religions, races, creeds, whatever you call it. And the thing is, when we're going back to the politics stuff a little bit, I generally think the majority of the people that we know are like me and you.
Yeah. We
think half of this is right, half of this is right, mixed together, but there's no such thing as that. Because the people who are all the way over there and all the way over here, they're the loudest. Mm. And right now, with the way all the media is, the loudest win.
Fair. It's like the survey. Like when you send a survey, I took a high school stats class, and they're like, when you send a survey out, like to a bunch of people to get a consensus or whatever, a census, the only people that are going to answer are the ones that really care about the subject or really don't. The ones in the middle aren't going to fucking say anything.
It's not even about care and not care. It's just who agrees with what this is and who disagrees with what this is.
And in the middle, it's just they're not going to answer, so you're only going to see the two poles.
Right. And it's going to be like big green bar over here, big red bar over here, and then nothing.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot more people in the middle than we think.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that there's a majority of the population is pretty like-minded, where they'll disagree on like one issue at a time, like because they feel for whatever reason confidently about it, or it affects their family. Just for what there's no reason to get into any of that now, but. They have some sort of reason to feel one way about one issue, and they cross-reference between, like in the politics term, between the aisle, like they go back and forth, and that's always because that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We should have people with a little bit of different ideas, but it shouldn't be this complete like you're either on the left or on the right or however you want to phrase it. It's just it's frustrating.
I really don't like categories.
Yeah,
like I really hate labels. I think it fucks up a lot because when you say you're this. Or you're this, I feel like it sets in your mind like a weird psychological tick. You're like, now I'm a part of this team,
right?
You know, you make it like a team. Like a team thing.
Yeah, and it's,
like a Giants or the Yankees.
No, it's
die for.
And it's not even like it's not even. I wouldn't even call it a team thing. I think it's just and this is kind of an American thing, and this is because sports is just such a big part of our culture, is like we like being on. We not only do we like winning, a lot of us, and myself included, not with this stuff, but with other things, we hate losing. Love than we more to win.
Fair.
And I just think that like it could be like a stupid Pong game that we'd play out there.
Yeah.
I'm more pissed when I lose anything competitive than when I'm happy than when I win. And that's probably because I got something wrong with me. I'm kind of a psychopath. I hate losing.
Yeah.
And it's just it's something that I have, and it's something that a lot of us have.
Yeah.
That pain of losing anything, no matter how big or small, is always going to outweigh how happy you are when you win it.
Yeah, that does seem very American.
Yeah.
That seems like, because that's kind of what this country was like based off of. It's like capitalism, like I'm going to push you and I'm going to I'm not an
Economics
guy.
I took one econ class here.
Yeah.
I know how to say it.
Yeah. But like the basis, okay, this is getting into something else. But